The headless horseman gallops under the night sky, devoid of stars, echoing through the silence with his unearthly cries. Swiftly racing on his ghostly white steed, the headless horseman rides tonight, guided by the whims of fate. Following the interest sparked by the Dullahan video, let's explore various headless horseman tales from different lands. The first story of the headless horseman is one that many of you may already know, thanks to its popularization by Washington Irving. In American folklore, the headless horseman was originally known as the Headless Hessian of the Hollow. His tale unfolds during the Battle of White Plains in New York, one of the many battles fought in the American struggle for independence from the British. The horseman was a Hessian trooper, fighting on the British side. For those unfamiliar, Hessian troopers were German soldiers allied with the British. During the battle, this particular Hessian trooper met an unfortunate fate: decapitation by a cannonball. While his comrades carried away his body, his shattered head was left scattered across the battlefield. His remains were interred in the old Dutch church of Sleepy Hollow, and legend has it that he rose as a vengeful ghost, forever seeking his lost head. This tale became associated with Halloween due to its occurrence on October 28, just days before the holiday. The motif of decapitation in battle is common, and can be found in Scottish, Welsh, and English folklore as well. In both English and Welsh folklore, we encounter the 14th century Arthurian poem, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. This story revolves around a knight of Arthur's Round Table who faces a challenge from a mysterious Green Knight to engage in a duel. However, it is not an ordinary duel, as the Green Knight allows Gawain to strike him once, on the condition that he will return the same blow a year and a day later. Gawain accepts the challenge and with one swing of his axe, beheads the Green Knight. To Gawain's surprise, the knight simply picks up his severed head, reminding Gawain of their agreement to meet again in a year's time, and then departs. When Gawain eventually encounters the Green Knight, he accepts his fate. In an effort to uphold his honor, he bows his head, waiting for the blow that will strike him down. After several feigned swings of the axe and a brief exchange, the Green Knight reveals himself as a transformed being, a result of Arthur's sister Morgan Le Fay's enchantment. The challenge and adventure were devised to test Arthur's knights and demonstrate their chivalry. This story is extensive, and there are aspects I haven't covered, as I intend to explore it further when delving into the tales of King Arthur and Arthurian lore. In Scotland, the headless horseman is said to be Ewan, a man vying for leadership within his clan. During a battle on the Isle of Mull, both Ewan and his horse were decapitated, ending his aspirations of becoming the chieftain. According to legends, both man and horse continue to haunt the surrounding area to this day. Moving to northern India, specifically the state of Rajasthan, we find a different variation of the headless horseman, portrayed as a heroic figure protecting the innocent. These stories often depict the horseman as a product of violent death. The most common story revolves around a prince who was beheaded while defending his village from thieves. Even after his decapitation, he continued to defend his people. This version of the horseman fought without a horse, making him more of a foot soldier than a true horseman. Another tale brings us to Germany, where the Brothers Grimm documented several stories about the headless horseman. The first story takes place in the town of Dresden and follows a woman gathering acorns in a forest known as the Lost Waters. As she collects acorns, she hears the sound of a hunting horn and turns to see a man riding a gray horse. Unperturbed, she continues her task and heads home. When she later returns to the forest, she hears a voice behind her. Turning around, she sees the same man dressed in gray, now carrying his head under his arm. He introduces himself as Hans Jagentuffel and explains that during his life, he disregarded his father's advice to be kind and merciful to others. Instead, he indulged in excessive drinking and selfish behavior, causing harm to those around him. As a result, he was cursed to roam the earth as an evil spirit after his death. The second German tale features the wild huntsman of Brunswick, known as Hackelberg. Upon his death, Hackelberg pleaded with God to let him remain on earth, relinquishing his place in heaven. His request was granted, but he would forever wander as a headless horseman. Hackelberg would blow his horn to warn other hunters that it would be unsafe to hunt the next day. In some versions, he also sought out and punished those who had wronged others, accompanied by his pack of black hounds with fiery tongues. These two German stories align with the themes of morality and God prevalent in the Grimm tales. Despite their diverse origins, most Headless Horseman tales share a common essence. The horseman is typically driven by revenge, often meeting his demise on a battlefield. However, there are instances where the horseman assumes the role of a protector or even a vigilante. If you have heard similar stories, please share them in the comments below. As always, I am your host,